Hi, I'm Sam.
And I'm Max.
And this is Movies Actually, where we give you an honest review of the movies we've meddled with so mischievously over at Maybe Movies.
And this time we are looking at The Golden Voyage of Sinbad. This is the 1973 Charles Schneer produced film based on a story by Brian Clemens and Ray Harryhausen, directed by Gordon Hessler, and starring John Philip Law, Tom Baker, Caroline Munro, and also featuring a very young Martin Shaw as well.
Really?
Rashid?
And there you have it.
So this came out in 1973. It was the second of the three best-known Sinbad movies, or Hollywood, shall we say, Sinbad movies that were made. The first one being The Seventh Voyage of Sinbad in 1958. This one, and then Sinbad and the Eye of the Tiger.
Ah, yes.
It was either 77 or 78.
So, for the Whovians out there, what's this? Is this 2-3 years before Mr. Baker stepped into the role?
So, curiously enough, I was having a look at some of the bonus features on here.
Uh-huh.
And one of them is, it's about a half-hour, 40-minute interview with Tom Baker.
Oh, right.
So this was made in 73,
Uh-huh.
but was almost a year in post-production.
Right.
During which time he didn't do much else.
Uh-huh.
He did a very poorly received run as Macbeth, but he hadn't done anything else. And about the time this came out, he had sent a letter to a friend of his who was a director at the BBC, saying, haven't done anything for a while.
Got anything for me?
Got anything for me.
Okay.
And the guy had that day been in a casting meeting with Barry Letts, talking about John Pertwee's replacement.
Okay.
And they had no ideas. So the next day that his friend saw Barry Letts, he was like, have you heard of Tom Baker? And he was like, no. Oh, right, well, he's in a movie. It's playing at the Picture House over the road.
Really? So
yeah.
This was kind of his audition for Doctor Who? There you go, random fact of the week.
But it is brilliant. Again, don't ask me when I first saw it. This one was Sundays and bank holidays.
No, I'm the same. I remember it so much, as you say, Sundays and bank holidays, but I can't remember when I first watched it, whether I was in the UK or in America or anything.
Yeah, it would have been very young. Basically, it is a standalone and original story about Sinbad the Sailor. The story was written by Ray Harryhausen and by Brian Clemens, another ubiquitous name from 60s and 70s TV and film in Britain. He's the guy behind the Avengers.
Ah, right.
Things like... I think he marked on spot. I don't know if he ever did any Doctor Who, but he's the guy who created The Professionals.
Oh, right. By the way, guys, that's not the MCU Avengers. This is the 60s and 70s show, The Avengers.
With Patrick Macnee, yes.
Yes.
And Diana Rigg and all of the others. Yeah. So he was quite a big name. Unfortunately, I was just having a quick look. I did find, I was like, oh, everybody has one bad one.
Oh.
He didn't write the screenplay, in all fairness, but Brian Clemens did write the story for Highlander 2.
Ooh.
Yeah.
He shoots. He fails.
By a country mile. But this, though, is fantastic.
Yes, it is. I mean, for me, it's not just those Sundays and bank holidays. This is a slice of my childhood. When you think about the fantasy genre, especially, it did go into sci-fi a little bit, but especially in fantasy, this is how it was done before CGI. The intensive stop-motion procedures of artists like Ray Harryhausen kept these sorts of stories afloat. And even after all of these years, and with the ever-revealing layers of detail that come from a Blu-ray transition, a lot of these effects still hold up to this day. Although they're not as finely detailed or as quick in their motion as certain CGI creations, they're lit in a space and have a physical, objective reality in the film.
They actually have, yes, because they're models. They have, as you say, they have this proper 3D depth that CGI only kind of attempts to replicate.
Yeah.
It's a physical artifact.
I'm not saying that CGI is incapable of it, but more often than not, it's just a little bit short of it.
Yeah.
the sheer amount of time and effort that went into these, I suppose, just wouldn't be feasible today, because you're talking about 6 to 9 months of stop motion preparation and stuff like that.
Of course. I mean, you'd hope that if somebody did want to look into doing it more, that with the advancements that we have, that there'd be enough to put the two together. I mean, again, one of the other things that is on there, which is really nice, there's like a short documentary from people who have been influenced and who will cite Ray Harryhausen as a massive influence on what they ended up doing. Not surprisingly, most of them are special effects people, so people like Stan Winston, Phil Tippett, Rick Baker's in there as well.
Of course, yeah. I mean, he was a pioneer in his field. I mean, he didn't invent it, but he made it the art form that it was for the 2 or 3 decades it was in use.
Absolutely. But also, like, film directors as well, like Joe Dante and John Landis are on there as well, talking about how watching Ray Harryhausen stop motion.
Well, that's also the thing, because he didn't just create emotion. He worked at creating a character in the animations.
That's what it is. Yeah, one of the guys was saying that these things
had personality to them, didn't they?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So yes, if you're at all curious about how it used to be done, this is how it used to be done. Alongside, obviously, the other Sinbad films, Jason and the Argonauts, Clash of the Titans. This was how fantasy used to be done before the computer age.
Jack the Giant Slayer? The original Jack the Giant Slayer? Of course.
Not one of my favourites, but yes, it should be counted there, yes.
It was made in the 70s. I suppose you just have to say a small word about it. Yes, it is a Sinbad film with a predominantly white cast, but
it's how it was done.
Exactly.
It's how they used to do it in the 80s and the 70s and the 60s and the 50s.
Like acting, pretending to be something that you're not.
Yes. And I mean, their characterization, I think, works.
Yes.
As long as you could overlook what's the term? I was going to say it's not blackface, it's brownface?
I don't know, yeah, there is
I'm not sure what the correct term is for that one. If you can overlook that. I think the performances were good. They were trying to portray their characters as honestly as they could, and I felt like they succeeded.
Yes, definitely. And as we were talking about, there's an interesting mix of mythological iconography.
Especially once they get to Lemuria.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes.
It's a little bit Far East, it's a little bit European.
I saw Thai, Balinese, I saw Japanese, Chinese with some of the masks going on.
And a henge.
A henge, yeah, so very European. And then we had the sort of Greco masks and...
a lot of the creatures.
A lot of the creatures were Grecian mythology types of creatures. It's one of those things I never truly appreciated as a kid, and literally just watching it this time I was appreciating how many different layers they were trying to show Lemuria as a progenitor to all cultures.
Yes.
Which was nice. It stopped it from becoming entirely one cliche. It was many iconographic there were many iconographic images from various cultures around the world.
But yes, definitely do check it out. I mean, I said there are 3 distinct Sinbad films. They're not like a trilogy.
I'm sorry, but aren't there 4? Wasn't there a Sinbad the Sailor? I might be wrong, but
not that I recall. There may have been an older black. Okay. There may have been an older black and white one.
We'll have to look this up later and
yeah. But of the colour ones, as far as I know, there was just those 3 were like the main 3 that are cited.
Yeah, enjoyable, but not my favourite of the stories.
As far as I recall, the first one is still the better one because they had the better production values and things like that. Not saying that this wasn't. I think this was made on a budget of about $2 million.
Well, yes, I mean, they did a great job, but I think it worked more effectively with the. Yes. That is the one when the older brother of the heroine is transformed into a baboon.
Possibly. It's been so long since I've seen them. I'd love to. I should get.
That was definitely my favourite because it had a dark magic. It had a darker edge to the magic in it, and like you say, the production values were so much higher.
Yes. I know the third one is the one with the metal Minotaur in it.
Yes,
it's the third one.
Oh, wait, no, that is the one. That's the one with the baboon.
That's the later one.
Yeah, because the witch turns the Minotaur animates the Minotaur.
Yeah, that's the later one.
Yeah.
I mean, it's interesting. That's one of the things that I would say.
So I find that one the better one.
We'll have to try and grab them and have a look.
Yeah, it's been a long time since I've watched them.
But yeah, I mean, I'd say of all of the stuff that Ray Harryhausen's done, it's more of his... Again, it is more of those metallic ones that always stick in my mind more than the creature sometimes. So, like, Kali from this, and Talos, the Man of Bronze from Jason and the Argonauts.
Yes.
You know, those are the ones that really stick in my mind that I remember as a kid going, wow.
I really loved the intro. I mean, like, with the battle with the Kali idol... and like the fight with the skeleton, the dragon's teeth skeleton army in Jason of the Argonauts. There's really intricate fights, and they still manage to... It's like when I was talking about, there's an amazing shot in this, if you're paying attention, when an actor swings an axe at an animated statue, and seamlessly it transitions into the axe being animated, embedded in the creature.
Yeah.
And I could not see the join at all. It was painstakingly done.
Yes. Again, I suppose that's the difference, isn't it? That's with this. There's a lot of love that goes into this. Everything, unfortunately, a lot of things today seem very processed.
Well, that's another thing. I kept noticing how well the animation matched the movement of the other actors. Not just like their physical actions, like when they were sword fighting and stuff, but like if their eye line moved a certain way, the animation would move that way. And all too often these days, you see animations where the actors and the animations do not track.
That was the thing. I was watching a review of Willow. They were saying there's a point when he's talking to a brownie. Brownie's down here and he's looking straight over here. Yeah. And they haven't even bothered to
They didn't even make the sincere effort to move him up 3 inches.
Fuck you, Disney.
Fuck you, Disney. Fuck you.
Anyway, so we've kind of rabbited on a bit there for a bit. As I say, we don't want to tell you loads of stuff about it because we don't want to spoil it for you.
Yeah, we haven't even really done the plot, have we?
Not really. But yes, well, as I say, it's a standalone story written by Ray Harryhausen of Sinbad going on a quest. That's about all you need to know. Great one for your kids, you know. It's a family film.
It's an all-rounder.
So it is a family film. But yeah, certainly, again, nostalgia berries aside and all of that kind of thing, it definitely gets two thumbs up from me. Unless you've got anything else to say?
Yeah, no. I think I agree. Yeah, 2 thumbs up. Worth your time for all sorts of reasons. Entertaining the family, entertaining yourself, seeing how movies used to be done, or just finding out about this character called Sinbad, who we don't see too much of in today's storytelling.
Which is a shame.
Yeah, I mean, he could equal Captain Jack for adventures and quips and crazy adventure. Just
and that's
so
why
much.
That's why it was such a fun one to do on the show as well, because as one of the lines it says, Rashid says in there, Captain Sinbad has sent more pirates to the bottom of the sea. It would have been a nice one if we'd have done that. Like,
if we
Sinbad against Captain Jack,
like we did with with that New Year special, just a versus.
Yeah,
that would have been
interesting.
That would be a genuine mashup.
Thank you for joining us, and we will be back again with another one of these very soon. We hope. By the way, is it just me, or does he look a bit sparkly?
No!
See you next time.
As always, guys, TTFN.